Hello and welcome once again to this online session in the subject of signals and systems. Currently we are discussing Z transform as a part of transform domain representation of signals and systems. In the last online session we looked at Z transform of some commonly used signals. Let us try to review the concepts discussed in last online session. We tried to find Z transform of a few common signals. The approach that we used to find Z transform of these common signals were based on the basic formula of Z transform as well as using the properties of Z transform. We had seen Z transform of few common signals like a unit impulse signal whose Z transform is 1 and ROC is entire Z plane. We had also seen Z transform of unit step signal, which is 1 upon 1 minus Z inverse mod Z greater than 1, the signal being causal. We had also seen Z transform of a signal minus U of minus n minus 1, and we identified that this basically is an anti-causal signal spreading from minus infinity to minus 1, and the Z transform of this signal is identical in expression to the Z transform of unit step signal U of n, that is, its Z transform is also 1 upon 1 minus Z inverse, but where the difference lies is in terms of ROC. Minus U of minus n minus 1 being an anti-causal signal, its ROC is primarily mod Z less than 1, that is, it is interior to the unit center. Further, we have also derived Z transform of signals like a raised to power n U of n and minus a raised to power n U of minus n minus 1, and we had tried to derive this both using formula as well as the property of Z transform. Right? The property that was used here was multiplying a signal with an exponential a raised to power n. Further, we had also derived Z transform of a signal U of minus n. We have derived this from the Z transform of U of n using the property of time reversal. From our discussions in the last online session, we realized that if we understand and use the properties of Z transform, then the direct approach of calculating Z transform using the formula and the mathematics involved in it can be reduced. In this online session, we would try to take examples of calculating Z transform for few other signals. Let us start with today's discussion. Let us first try to find Z transform of a signal cos omega 0 n un. The signal is a causal signal spreading from 0 to infinity, and signal is basically a cosine signal. Now, we know that by Euler's identity, cos omega 0 n can be written as 1 by 2 e raised to power j omega 0 n plus e raised to power minus j omega 0 n. That is, my x of n can be represented in this form 1 by 2 e raised to power j omega 0 n un plus 1 by 2 e raised to power minus j omega 0 n un. Let me consider these two terms to be two individual signals, x1n and x2n, and I try to write this signal by taking e raised to power j omega whole raised to power n so as to make it in a similar form of a raised to power n, where a is e raised to power j omega 0. Now what do we know? We know that if we have a signal a raised to power n u of n, then Z transform of it is 1 upon 1 minus a z inverse, where mod Z is greater than mod A. There actually is no restriction on the value of A. A can be a real number or A can also be a complex number. If we try to see x1n as well as x2n, then x1 as well as x2n both are of the form of a raised to power n u of n, where A in x1 is e raised to power j omega 0 and in x2 a is e raised to power minus j omega 0. So using this standard Z transform pair if we try to find Z transform of x1, that is x1z, then this 1 by 2, which is a multiplying factor and a constant, comes as it is. And I can write this as 1 upon 1 minus az inverse, that is 1 upon 1 minus e raised to power j omega 0 z inverse. The ROC would be mod z greater than mod a, that is mod z greater than mod e raised to power j omega 0. And we know that the magnitude of e raised to power j omega 0 is 1, because e raised to power j omega 0 is nothing but cos omega 0 plus j sin omega 0. So its magnitude is under root of cos square omega 0 plus sin square omega 0, which is equal to 1. In the same way, we can also find Z transform of signal x2, let us call it x2z. The only difference here is that the value of a is now e raised to power minus j omega 0, which is getting reflected here. Magnitude of e raised to power minus j omega 0 would again be equal to 1. So now, as per the property of linearity of Z transform, if I have in a discrete time domain addition of two signals with some multiplying factor, then in Z transform also we would have addition of individual Z transform with the same multiplying factor. So Z transform of x of z can be expressed as Z transform of x1z plus x2z. And now we know what is Z transform of x1z and x2z. So let us try to substitute these values here. So what do we get? We get x of z is equal to 1 by 2 taken out, 1 upon 1 minus e raised to power j omega 0 z1, z raised to power minus 1, which is nothing but x1z, plus 1 upon 1 minus e raised to power minus j omega 0 z inverse, which comes from x2z. The combined ROC is basically the intersection of two ROCs. Here we find that x1z and x2z is having identical ROC, and hence the intersection of this would give me mod z greater than 1. Because both have same common region, the ROC remains mod z greater than 1. Now we can be satisfied with this form of x of z. However, if we try to manipulate this a little further, we can bring this Z transform in terms of a cosine signal. Let us try to do this. For doing this, let me take the LCM of these two terms. Yes, LCM of these two terms would primarily be the multiplication of two factors. This term would go here, which basically comes here, and this term would go here, which basically comes here. What we have simply done is taken the LCM of two terms. It should not be difficult to understand. Now if you try to see the numerator, we would have 1 plus 1, which would be equal to 2. And if I see these two terms, z raised to power minus 1 can be taken out, and hence I would get something like e raised to power minus j omega 0 plus e raised to power j omega 0 in the bracket. Similarly, if we try to multiply two terms in the denominator, we would get some term like this. 1 into 1 is 1, 1 into e raised to power minus j omega 0 z inverse would give you this term, 1 into e raised to power j omega 0 z inverse would give you this term, and e raised to power j omega 0 z inverse and e raised to power minus j omega 0 z inverse would primarily give you z raised to power minus 2. The reason is e raised to power j omega 0 and e raised to power minus j omega 0 would cancel one another. Right? Now we know that if cos omega 0 n is equal to 1 by 2 e raised to power j omega 0 n plus e raised to power minus j omega 0 n, then what would this form be? What would this form be? Understand that this is e raised to power minus j omega 0 plus e raised to power j omega 0. We don't have n here. So we would not have n here, and we don't have 1 by 2 multiplying factor. So this 2 basically goes here. So this term in the bracket that we have in the numerator as well as in the denominator would basically be equal to 2 cos omega 0. N would not come because here n is appearing, because in cos we have omega 0 n. Here n is not appearing, so we would simply have cos omega 0. And because we don't have multiplying factor of 1 by 2, this 2 has to be taken on LHS, so we would have 2 cos omega 0 in the numerator as well as in the denominator. Yes. Now if this is 2 minus 2 cos omega 0, this 2 can cancel this 2 in the numerator, resulting into this final expression something like this, which is 1 minus cos omega 0 z inverse divided by 1 minus 2 cos omega 0 z inverse plus z raised to power minus 2 with ROC mod z greater than 2. Coming to this final form of Z transform is absolutely not difficult. If you try to put the calculations on a piece of paper, you would be able to get this without any difficulty. Fine. So here we have tried to calculate Z transform of another standard signal, which is cos omega 0 n un, and we get its Z transform as 1 minus cos omega 0 z inverse divided by 1 minus 2 cos omega 0 z inverse plus z raised to power minus 2. Now similar to this, let us also try to calculate Z transform of sine omega 0 n un. The process for calculating Z transform for this signal in fact goes in parallel to the way in which we have calculated Z transform for cosine signal. Let us try to see this. Similar to cos, sine can be expressed as sin omega 0 n would be equal to 1 by 2 e raised to power j omega 0 n minus e raised to power minus j omega 0 n. We know that the difference between cos and sine representation would be in terms of this polarity. In cos, this comes to be positive, whereas in sine, this comes to be negative. So let us try to express x of n as this. So I can express x1n now as, I can express x of n now as x1n minus x2n. If you see the form of x1n and x2n written, they are again in the form of a raised to power n u of n. So let us try to use the same Z transform pair, which says that a raised to power n u of n is 1 upon 1 minus a z inverse with mod z greater than mod a. So x1z would primarily 1 upon 1 minus e raised to power j omega 0 z inverse with multiplying factor of 1 by 2 coming as it is, with ROC mod z greater than 1, and x2z would again be 1 upon 1 minus e raised to power, in this case would be minus j omega 0 z inverse with ROC mod z greater than 1. So again, by the property of linearity, we can express the Z transform of x of n as x of z, which would be equal to x1z minus x2z. So we substitute the values of x1z and x2z and we come to this particular expression. As we did previously, let us try to take LCM of this so as to see whether we can bring it in terms of sine, that is, we can bring it in terms of trigonometric relation rather than exponential relation. So we take LCM of this. The denominator would be same as it was there in the cos, but in the numerator we identify that because of this minus sign, the polarity of this term changes, which ultimately leads to cancellation of this 1 and minus 1. So if we try to simplify this, this would come into this particular form. In the numerator, we identify that we have some term like e raised to power j omega 0 minus e raised to power minus j omega 0. In the denominator, we identify that we have a term like e raised to power minus j omega 0 plus e raised to power j omega 0. Now this term in the denominator, we know it is nothing but 2 cos omega 0. Similarly, if we try to identify the term in the numerator, can be written from this relation as 2 sine omega 0. That 2 sine omega 0 and this 2 may cancel one another, ultimately giving us this form. It would be equal to sine omega 0 z inverse upon 1 minus 2 cos omega 0 z inverse plus z raised to power minus 2 ROC mod z greater than 1. If required, you can take a pause here. You can try to solve the example by your own, and you will find that the mathematics involved in this is very simple. If you are satisfied with this, let us try to go to the next example where we try to calculate Z transform of a signal x of n is equal to a raised to power n cos omega 0 n un. So, in the previous example, we calculated Z transform of cos omega 0 n un. Now it is getting multiplied with an exponential a raised to power n. So, the simple way to find Z transform of this would be using the property. Let us try to consider this to be a standard Z transform pair which says that cos omega 0 n un has a Z transform 1 minus cos omega 0 Z inverse upon 1 minus 2 cos omega 0 Z inverse plus Z raised to power minus 2. We know the property of Z transform that if x of n has a Z transform x of z, then a raised to power n x of n would have Z transform x of z by a. In fact, we have used this property earlier also. Yes? So now if we try to find the Z transform of x of n, then in this Z transform pair, wherever z occurs, I have to substitute z by z. I have to substitute z with z divided by a. So I write 1 minus cos omega 0 z divided by a inverse upon 1 minus 2 cos omega 0 z divided by a inverse plus z divided by a raised to power minus 2, and in ROC also I write z divided by a greater than 1. If I try to simplify this, I can write this as 1 minus a because a is in the denominator here. So if I take it in the numerator, it would be raised to power minus 1, which again gets multiplied with this, so it would give me 1. So it would be 1 minus a cos omega 0 z inverse upon 1 minus a cos omega 0 z inverse plus a square z raised to power minus 2, and this mod a goes here, so it will be mod z greater than mod a. Yes. So if we know or if we remember the Z transform of cos omega 0 and un, then we would be easily able to derive the Z transform of a raised to power n cos omega 0 and un using the property of Z transform. Yes. And in the previous example itself, we had seen that how we actually calculate Z transform of cos omega 0 and un from the standard Z transform pair a raised to power n un. Fine. Let us try to take one more example in this regard, investigating one more property of Z transform. Let us say that we have a signal x of n is equal to n a raised to power n un. Now we know a standard Z transform pair that a raised to power n un has a Z transform 1 upon 1 minus a z inverse with mod z greater than mod a. We know the property of Z transform, particularly the property of differentiation in Z domain, which says that if x of n has Z transform x of z, then n x of n would have a Z transform minus z dxz by dz. And the ROC primarily remains same because this does not change the poles of x of z. Right? So what I have to basically do is that if I want to find the Z transform of n a raised to power n un, then I already know the Z transform of a raised to power n un. Then Z transform of n a raised to power n un would basically be minus z differentiation of this term. So let us try to see this, that x of n can be seen as n into this particular term. So in that case, Z transform of x of n, that is x of z, would basically be minus z d by dz of Z transform of this, which is written here. Because we have to primarily do differentiation of this term, it would be more convenient if we try to represent it in terms of positive powers of z rather than negative powers. So I write 1 upon 1 minus a z inverse as z upon z minus a. Now let us try to differentiate this. We know differentiation of f by g. We keep g as it is and we differentiate f. So differentiation of this z would give me 1. In the second part, we keep the first term as it is, the numerator as it is, and we differentiate z minus a, which would again give me 1. This is divided by g square, that is z minus a whole square. this minus z in multiplication stays as it is. If I try to simplify this, we identify that z would cancel one another. So what is left in the numerator is minus a, which if I try to simplify, I can write it like this, that az upon z minus a whole square mod z greater than mod a. If I try to write it in the inverse form, I can do it this way. I can take z square out from the denominator. So I would get 1 minus az inverse whole square, and that z square and z would cancel one another, leaving z raised to the power minus 1 in the numerator. So if I want to express this in terms of negative powers of z, I can write this as az inverse upon 1 minus az inverse whole square mod z greater than mod a. Right? For future reference, we would try to note that whenever you get some terms with a power higher than 1, like we have here z minus a whole square or 1 minus az inverse whole square, when you have terms like z square or z cube, it primarily indicates that there should be some multiplying factor like n with the discrete time function. Whenever you would have the multiplying factor n, it is likely that you would have the terms with square or higher powers in the denominator. With this, we end this online session here. In the next online session, we will try to see a few more examples on Z transform. Thank you for joining this. Thank you.